my dad was actually a DJ, you know, since he was 19. He grew up in Philly too. And he would do like a whole disco thing.
Is your dad Diplo? Is your dad?
Yeah. Everyone's dad is Diplo if you think. Yeah. But,
what's up, guys? So excited to show you guys this podcast with my man, CUSTO. This guy just dropped his newest song called I Like. I'm so proud of this man because the best part to me of this podcast is when we can open up and be honest about the things we've gone through and gotten through, right? Like we all go through all these different trials and tribulations, right? But they're all very similar to each other because we're all the same thing manifested in another body, right? Like we've all had, you know, whether it be full-on depression or we've all had times where we weren't sure of ourselves or just times that like were really hard, right? Like, and CUSTO opened up to me about how he battled depression through COVID and all the things that he did and continues to do to stay vigilant against this thing that can come back at any time, right? Like any one of us can at any time go through something and interpret it and feel saddened by it, right? So like he talks about how like he went through therapy and he one of the best reliefs is just being able to talk about these different things, right? And like when it comes to mental health, in my experience, the best thing we can do is talk to someone, right? Like pain shared is pain lessened is one of my favorite quotes. And he talks, and also this was another cool thing that he mentioned, move a muscle, change a thought. Like that's another one of my favorite quotes because he talks about all the things that he does regularly to get outside of himself, right? It's always when we're stuck up in here and we're thinking about the past that we feel depressed, or we're thinking about the future and we feel anxious, right? But when we can just do something, literally like anything that brings you joy, whether that be just going and taking a walk, whether it's a nice sunny day, whether that be exercise, whether that be cooking, whether that be playing video games, whether that be just hanging out with people. Like when you go and you help someone with something they're going through, you lose sight of the problems and issues that you're having, and you feel better, so you can actually then go ahead and tackle the things that you're dealing with. And then maybe through that thing, you realize the whole reason why you were upset isn't even that big a deal. And it's such a beautiful process. So, you know, on top of CUSTO being like such a great guy, a dope freaking producer and DJ, he's also an incredible person to talk to. He even you know points out in his in the podcast that like anybody can reach out to him. He's an open book, and I'm so grateful that he came on the Free Yourself podcast. So please tune in, turn up the volume on whatever you're listening to, and gear up for my man CUSTO on Free Yourself, episode 140. Let's get it. Welcome back to the Free Yourself podcast. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ryan Janni, and I am naked. And today we have another very special guest. I'm so happy to bring on my man, CUSTO.
Yo,
this guy was good.
Yeah.
We've got the brand new release, I Like, on all streaming platforms right now. I'm so excited for you, brother. So I wanted to, of course, first thank you for coming on the podcast.
I want to thank you for having me.
Got right on. I'm grateful and blessed to have you on, brother. I can only keep this going if I can have beautiful people like yourselves coming on and doing this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on.
I want to thank you for having me, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
So the song I Like. I want to talk about the inspiration kind of behind it, and maybe sort of the process of sometimes with music, like shit happens and while you're making it, and it's like a weird thing that like comes together. So tell me the inspiration and then kind of the process you went through.
So, I mean, a lot of like my, I guess, production style, it's all like trial and error. Like, I feel like as is everything, like, you're listening to like a dope artist and you hear like a really cool like sound or like the way they're like doing it, like whatever they're doing. And you just kind of like, oh, I could kind of like, get inspo from that and just like listen to a bunch of artists, pull like different inspirations for different people and then kind of put your own flavor on it. That's kind of what I did with this track. And like, I was doing a lot of like house stuff too before. And I mean, I'm still doing house stuff. I'm definitely still doing house stuff. But I definitely wanted to, pump out a couple like dubstep type tracks or, like trappiness, whatever. Just kind of keep my platform kind of open. I don't want to put myself in one kind of box, like how a lot of like artists are doing now, like, I mean, it's cool. Like I respect how people are, going in, building their brand in one genre and stuff like that. But for me, I mean, I love playing everything. I love, whether it be hip hop, dubstep, bass house, I'll even throw in a little like groovy house songs and stuff like that, And it seems like a lot of like the bigger artists are doing that now too. If you listen to like a lot of like the Grizz sets or, Nitty Gritty or people like that. And, I want to strive to be kind of like that, just like kind of open format where, I could take my brand any which way and have like different types of parties and like be different crowds, kind of reach anyone really.
Hell yeah. Like GTA is another one. Their whole career, they've been
they've been flip-flopping like a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, it's not GTA anymore. It's Good Times Ahead.
Good Times Ahead. I mean, they're always gonna be GTA, dude. When they were playing at like Soundgarden in Philly in like 2012 and like 2013, dude.
Hell yeah. We might have been at the same show.
Yeah,
we might have been because I've been there. I've seen them at Soundgarden.
They always threw that fucking dirty like do like trap sets and shit. Oh my god, I miss
dude.
That,
and they played at I think it's the Foundry. It was like it might have been right before COVID. They did 3 nights and they did like a house night, a like dubstep night, and a like hip hop kind of night. So they even like how cool would that freaking be?
That is really sick.
And have 3 freaking night like it's imagine so cool.
Imagine being like the person that got to see every set,
Yeah, right. Like, that is such. I've GTA has a very special place in my heart because like
always
there was I think it was the first, maybe it was the first Made in America. I think it was, where they came and like that's when like the original song that blew them up, Booty Bounce, was popping, and they threw the fuck down, dude. It was so I've loved GTA since Booty Bounce, man. And
what a time
like,
to be alive.
Dude, they're coming out with more music now. And like, I think it was like a 4-track EP or something like that. And it like no 4 song is the same genre. Like
of course.
And I love that. So keep do you, man, whatever you're feeling, right? Like
that's exactly what it is. It's whatever I'm feeling that day. And that's kind of like one of the reasons I got into music is just to like express myself,
Yeah. And you just crushed a B2B with Eckhouse doing house music at my freaking crib where we freaking had the after party for Impulse. So that was freaking sick.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you did that.
Yeah. Well, that was my first back-to-back, honestly. Like I played other, back-to-backs, but it's like, they're weird like circumstances. So they weren't like true back-to-backs, but that was like my first true back-to-back, which was a very interesting, to say the least, experience.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was
fun. And then you got to bond more with Eckhouse, and now I see you guys are doing some shit. So you guys got something cooking.
Yeah, we wanna get some stuff cooking. I think we're like very on the same vibe. Like he likes a lot of like, dubstep house and kind of everything. I think I watched his episode. It was the one with like the one 138 or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I put out this past week.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
he was saying the same thing.
Yeah,
He's like, I want to make whatever I want to make. Like,
right. Yeah, I feel that 100%. You know, just it's if you don't give yourself like creative freedom, then I don't think you're ever gonna like make your best work, because if you can't express yourself in any which way you're feeling, then it's not going to come out like authentic, I guess, like genuine.
It can absolutely limit you to what you're doing, because like even just what we're talking about, like I'm talking about GTA and how they've done all different genres and stuff, and like so many of like my favorite artists have done that, like Grizz, like you said, another one. Like there's and almost everyone, not almost everyone, but I like to speak in absolutes. That's been the theme so far the last couple of times.
I'm speaking only absolutes,
you know. But a lot of artists now, they're like, whether they make bass music or not, like they'll come out with a house track because it's big right now. And
I mean, even look at Subtronics on his Fractals album. He released that VIP, which was, I mean, it was a bass house track, which was dope as shit. I was like, oh, okay, let's get it. Yeah. I was like, okay, showing out for the people.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying, showing out for the people.
Yeah, and he's a Philly boy too.
Yeah, so, of course.
Gotta show love. Yeah. But him and Grizz have been coming out with like wild freaking collabs, and like it's so cool to see, like, because Subtronics it's like he's homegrown from our point of view, right? And like has been able to build this like huge freaking brand around his Cyclops and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy to see, you know, going to like, I saw him back when he was like, you know, still coming up at District 9 back in like early District 9. Yeah, and when he was still like opening for people, I was like, okay, this guy's cool. And then he bloomed to be what Subtronics is today, and it's just top of the game, you know. It's crazy.
Hell yeah, man. So that brings me to the next sort of question. Like, a lot of people in our era of electronic music producers and stuff didn't start out as electronic music fans. Like, we grew up listening to a whole bunch of different genres and stuff like that. Amen. So take me through, like, how did you, like, the first kind of music you were listening to all the way to like how you got into electronic music?
So it's a funny story. My dad was actually a DJ, you know, since he was 19. He grew up in Philly too. And he would do like a whole disco thing.
Is your dad Diplo? Is your
dad? Everyone's dad is Diplo if you think. Yeah. But yeah, he actually, I would like, he would always have like these mix CDs that he would bring to like his gigs, like, cause he used to do like our school dances back in like middle school and everything. So I listened to like a lot of alternative rock, because that was like what was in at the time, you know, like top 40 type stuff. And then I have an older sister who like kind of like bridged, you know, out of like mainstream into like more of like the hip hop and like pop punk. And so like I kind of just have like a bunch of like, you know, even oldies. I was never a fan of disco, which I think hurt him a little bit, but you know, it's cool. You know, I think it's a generational thing. I don't think he understands dubstep, so it's mutual, you know. But yeah. So I mean, I listened to a lot of like pop punk and a lot of like hip hop once I started to form my own kind of like music sense, I guess, rather than listening to like what my parents were listening to or listening to what my sisters listened to. Because as the youngest, like it's hard to get like your music on like say the car, because like it
same
was, so it was kind of growing up, it was like whatever someone else is listening to. But then like I said, once, you know, I started to form my own, and I still listen to hip hop. I listen to a lot of pop punk still, you know, very, very well into the pop punk, you know, even the newer guys, you know, so still riding that wave of, you know, I don't only listen to like EDM or house music, dubstep, whatever. I know some people don't like the term EDM, but that's what it is, electronic dance.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We're all trying to get to the same festivals, right?
Facts. Yeah, dude.
Like, 100%. Come on.
Yeah. And then I think in high school, you know, when everyone fucking found electronic music was when Skrillex started popping off, Rusko started popping off, you know, that forget that one Ruska song, the Woo Boost or whatever. That shit hit hard.
Well,
yeah.
Cool story about that. Shout out to my buddy Sej Omieno, Midnight Panda. That guy, he lives down in Atlanta, but he was my goalie at Westchester. And you know, up to the point that I'm talking about, this is probably, it might be 2010. It was really like when I was growing up, there was, of course, you know, you heard Eiffel 65 when they came out. You heard Daft Punk when they came out, Fatboy Slim, and like Cascada and Bass Hunter, like that. But that was very sparingly. You didn't electron, and even all of that. If you at our age, like everyone called that techno. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. Techno was the rave parties.
Yeah, instead of it being called EDM, then everything was called techno. And but so as time went on, like I'm in college, and like Afrojack and all the Dutch guys are starting to get bigger. And it wasn't until I heard Cockney Thug by Rusko, but the Caspa remix, and I was like, what is this kind of music? And it blew my mind. And I was like, man. All right, I like bass music. But even then, it wasn't called bass music. Everything that was hard was dubstep then.
Yeah, it was all under like one umbrella term, you know. It's like techno or fucking dubstep, right? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There was no all the, like, now there's all these subgenres and stuff. And people still tell me today, like a subgenre. I'm just like, I've never heard of that, but I'm glad you're following your passion. That's so cool.
There's so many. Yeah. To your point, literally, like this was like a month or two ago. I had my buddy Hey Doc Music on here, and I was trying to explain a genre, and he was like Afro House, and I was like, yeah, like another new genre that I hadn't heard. And then I was like, that's the freaking name of it. And then another guy came and DJ'd at one of our after parties, and he makes breakbeat, and I was like,
breakbeat, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like we're getting, this is awesome that there's so many, you know, genres, and people can find their niche and whatnot. Right. It's like, but even now, like as someone like me and you have been like in electronic music for so long, are like, there's still stuff we don't know about. Like,
right. That's why it's funny. Like people ask like what genre I do. I was like, just like bass music, you know, like all forms of bass. And they're like, well, what kind of bass? Because now there's like dubstep, there's trap, there's left field, there's a breakbeat, rhythm, like whatever. I'm just like, yeah, all that.
Yeah. I try. I default to saying tech house, bass house, but like I just like house music. Like that's my stuff. But like also
bread and butter.
Yeah, and it's like it's just way easier to just say house music than to like explain, and because like I'm really, really starting to love more and more drum and bass too. And like
I love drum and bass,
dude. And I hated drum and bass for so long. Like
I did too. I hated it, and then like my friends really, really got into it because they like all that like real heavy stuff. And then if you can notice the trend, all the heavier kids who are into it like the last couple of years are all the ones who are vibing with like the D&B stuff. So that's what they did. And then the more and more they pushed it on me, the more I started to like fuck with it. It's like an acquired taste, I guess you could say, you know?
Absolutely.
I actually did a drum and bass, a drum and bass remix of Doggo by Barely Alive, which it was kind of fun. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, didn't really promote it much, but it was something more or less just like having fun producing. SoundCloud, shameless plug.
Dude, hell yeah. Well, no, we want you to look. We want everyone. This is why you're out here. We want everyone to look at your freaking SoundCloud. Yeah, man. All that shit.
Hell yeah.
Dude, and a lot of the house music guys that I've seen live have started to drop, like Dom Dalla, his encore song at the Ab was fucking drum and bass.
Hell yeah.
And then Papa Claude, my favorite, Claude Von Stroke drops drum and bass, and literally, I heard him I heard him loop the song that he had playing, and I heard him speeding it up. And I'm like, I'm looking around. I look at Sam. I'm like, or Ciroc, shout out. I look at him like, he's gonna drop drum and bass. He's gonna drop drum and bass. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And then he dropped drum and bass. I'm like, ah!
Dude, drum and bass is not accepted as wildly as it is in Philly, which is pretty crazy. I've been noticing more and more. I've been hearing, and I've been listening to like a lot of like artists talk about it. You know, they're just like, there's like a couple like real good hot spots for drum and bass, but apparently Philly's one of them. So
I love it. I would love to collab with the drum and bass artist.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, there's some fucking the UK artists, dude, are the sickest drum and bass people ever. Yeah, they're just
UK garage and drum and bass. That's a sick playlist on Spotify for anybody who wants to find. Sick.
I gotta check that out. Sounds fun.
Hell yeah! Shout out Ciroc. He showed me that.
Yeah. Dude.
That's what was the inspiration for me and him have a collab. It might not ever come out, but it was like fun to make and sit. We just sat down one time, and it's like 132 or 135 BPM. I forget which one. But it's freaking it's UK garage. It's like it's fire. It's fire.
Oh, man,
and
dude.
Shout out to freaking Secret, because when he opened for Nitty Gritty at the Ave, he dropped it. And this was so cool. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get some videos and pictures for him and like send it to him later. And I go to the back and I got my phone and I'm filming, and then I'm like, damn, this song sounds familiar. And then I'm like, wait, oh my God, this is my song. And I'm filming it. You literally can like hear me like say it, and be like, oh my God, this is my song. I was like a little kid.
I have to be better about that, sending like my unreleased tracks out to like people so I can go watch them and hear them play. I slack on it, dude. I slack on sending out stuff.
Dude, now we've got literally like, look at this community that we've been building, and
it is so crazy, man.
And it doesn't matter what genre you make, just send it to fucking everybody. Just be like, hey, this is a song I haven't released yet. It's like, I just want, first off, do that stuff to get feedback and shit.
Yeah,
right?
facts. Well, I'm always getting feedback, especially from like the homies. But I mean, now with the whole Discord that Sam started, Ciroc, plug his Discord wherever.
Realty
Records Discord. It's the sickest Discord. But I mean, they have that whole feedback channel and like even like just production chat, and it's been helping me like crazy because there's some like really, really, really talented producers in there. Like, Sweet Teeth's in there starting his Hijack project. If you want to hear some unreleased Sweet Teeth side project stuff, fucking crazy production. But he's in there. There's just like a bunch of people in there that are just giving like crazy detailed, very good stuff that you wouldn't even think about. And you're just like, oh, all right, fuck yeah. I'm going to definitely do that. And then, I mean, Sam's always been helping me with like my production as well. I sent him stuff. He's like, I don't know, like dubstep that well, but I can try my best. And like, it's like really, really good feedback. So I'm just like, all right, continue to send him stuff,
And that's another thing that I learned from like Cosmic Academy is like, if you can get feedback from people that are in other genres, you'll get way different feedback than you would from someone who's making the same genre as you. Sure. And that can help, boost your production even more, because you get different little because there's no one way to make any genre, but there's a lot of similar things. Like when people are looking up how to make tech house, how to make bass house, they're looking up the same tutorials that the most popular tutorials that are out there by the most popular artists. So then they're learning from them, and then they send it to someone who makes freaking dubstep, and they're like, oh, but what if you did this and did it and changed this sort of thing? And you're like, wow, like I never learned that because I'm over here in this world learning about production and stuff like that. So
I think that's like what a lot of people do when they're trying to learn how to produce, is they have an idea of a genre they want to make, but the issue is that they're putting themselves in a box. Like they learn all these rules from like whatever you watch on YouTube, and they're like, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way, but that's not necessarily true. There's like a bunch of ways to get to where you're going. You just got to figure it out, like what works best for you, So say you're a house producer and you watch like a Virtual Riot tutorial, and it might get the point across of what you're trying to do way better than someone who's in the house scene doing tutorials that is like known for doing it, you know? So that's something I learned recently, is just don't put yourself in a production box, you know, just fucking slap stuff on there and twist some knobs and see what it does. And then if it sounds cool, it sounds cool, and then alter it from there. And that's what I've been doing with a lot of like my newer stuff that I've been making. It's been coming out fucking pretty cool, I think. So
hell yeah.
Hopefully
another plug-in I like again. Everybody make sure you freaking go download that song. Stream that shit. Fire. Yeah, so good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Little dubstep guy, you know. I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
And then I do have a house track in the works right now. I'm collabing with my boy Satos, Alec. He's actually about to move to Philly. I'm about to introduce him to all the guys once he moves. But he is one of the best producers I've worked with. You know, he's just like, his music theory is crazy, you know, so he's just very, very dope person to, you know, work with and learn from. And we actually got that track onto Welcome Records. It was me and him, and that was cool. He did a lot of stuff there, and it's pretty dope song that came out. We got on their little Counts of Horror compilation, and back in 2019. So that was a big step in the career. So that was cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So
man.
When say someone is coming to you and they're like, I'm just starting out, like what are like some things that you would tell them as like ways to improve their music production and like places to start?
So I'm very self-taught with everything I've done. I mean, it depends how they want to do it. So I mean, like the questions would be asking like, well, I mean, obviously what genre do you want to do, or do you want to just like learn how to do it, like what DAW they're on, you know? Because I didn't even start. I'm on Ableton now, but I didn't start on Ableton. I started on GarageBand because I used to edit videos and I used Final Cut, and it just transferred over because it's on Mac. Then I went to Logic, and my stuff just wasn't coming out right. And then I tried out Ableton, and it worked out. And so I try to push people to Ableton because that's what worked for me. But I am like, we'll get the DAW, and then honestly just play around with like the samples that are inside of Ableton and learn how to like form a song like before you even start sound designing. Because what a lot of people want to do when they first start learning how to even produce is like, you know, just start diving into Serum or diving into Massive, diving into whatever they're doing. And they're just, that's cool if you can make a crazy sound, but if you don't know how to use the sound and form it into like a beat or whatever, like put it with that, or know like music theory with like keys and like stuff. And I'm still learning to the day. So if someone ever came to me and asked like, what do I do? I'd be like, fucking get on YouTube, because I'm not going to be any help. But yeah, I mean, I think like how I started was I played with a lot of samples and just learned how to form a song. So that would be like step one. And then from there you can start, you know, making your own beats and, you know, and play around with BPMs, what sits well with you, and different keys. I really like certain keys that I produce in, and you know, I think it's easier to write in. So I'll play around with that, and then, you know, stuff like that. So that's.
And did you like, I'm someone who I've only started learning music theory when I started producing. Like, are you someone who grew up playing an instrument, or did you just you're like me?
Yeah. Just kind of picked it up. You know, just, you know, like I said, like I started with playing with a lot of samples. So just with like, I got Splice pretty early. Someone put me on the Splice, which, you know, not
big help.
Yeah, it's a huge help, but it's like, I think it like shot me in the foot in the beginning, because it's like, well, why do I need a sound design? I have Splice. And then you realize every other person has Splice. And then you're just playing this with the same samples that 10 million other people are playing with. So it's just like, I'm going to dive a little bit more into production. But the cool thing that the samples taught me is like how to form, you know, loops and stuff like that I can use. I'm a big resampler. So I'll make a sound, resample it, fuck it up with mixing, and then resample that, and then do it until I get to like the sound that I want to do, because I'd rather look at, you know, waveforms and play with those, because it makes more sense to me than looking at like little blocks in a MIDI, because that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just like, this is weird. But
so you like audio samples more than you like MIDI?
Yeah, way better. So like, resampling is especially if you're doing dubstep, resampling is huge because you can really you can make the sound and then it's going to be like, all right, well, this sounds like this. And then you can mix it like put like different plugins. I use a lot of Ableton stock plugins, so it's not like I'm doing anything different than anyone who has Ableton, but I just mess it up. Like I said, just play with knobs and play with volumes of stuff and then resample that and then play with that, stretch it out. You can cut it up, do whatever, and then put it back into a whole form. I don't know. You can do so much with Ableton. It's crazy.
Well, it also, to give you some, some reassurance in using Ableton plugins. Well, one of the biggest duos in the freaking world who has become literally world famous, the Chainsmokers, use Ableton stock plugins. All right. So like,
yeah, I love Ableton stock
plugins. They might know what they're doing a little bit,
I think, yeah, facts. I mean, I think the only external plugins I use like Serum, and then I use Volume Shaper for my sidechain, but other than that, everything else is just stock plugins. I don't have money to be buying fucking plugins, dude. They're expensive.
Dude, the only expensive plugin that I've bought was Serum, and it's because they did the payment plan.
Yeah.
Like rent to buy.
Yeah, the Splice rent to buy. That's what I did at least.
Yeah,
I did it through Splice. I also got Ozone through Splice, but I don't use it. It's like the mastering plugin, but
yeah,
it's cool.
Hell yeah. There's really only a couple that I really like Fab Filter, Pro Q, and
I want to get Fab Filter so bad, but
see,
everyone who has it,
I'll tell you offline how I got it because I don't want to out myself.
Everyone, I already said it. Everyone that I know that has it cracked it, and I'm just like, I'm not willing to put that on my computer.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. But no, the reason why is because I used to crack like a bunch of plugins like on my old computer. And then I had to buy a new hard drive 3 times because it killed my computer 3 times. I lost everything. I wasn't backing anything up. I was just vibing with it. Now I back everything up. I think you gotta have a hard drive and then a backup hard drive for your hard drive. Yeah, I do. I have like 3 hard drives and everything's just backed up to one, back up the other. Yeah, so it's just you don't want to lose stuff because you saw that shit that happened with, was it G Jones that lost like half of his computer, I think it was, and he had to like restart. Yeah, that happened back in like the summer. I was like, dude, I'm sure that shit he's working on was crazy, dude. Yeah,
that was on that laptop.
I couldn't even imagine. I would have been so mad,
dude. And he's it's funny because like obviously I'm house music more than anything guy, but like he's someone who, and I'm never on Twitter, but he's someone who I've followed on Twitter for a long time. He's actually like a great Twitter follow.
He's a really cool dude, and he's always looking out for his fans because I remember seeing like for his tours, like he was posting like, don't come to my tour if you have problem with like strobe lights. That's all my production is. Like he's just like really looking out for people. I don't know, like that's
I mean he's even how I found out about the whole not test kits in general, but like he was a big part of making sure like if people are going to do drugs and stuff, there's testing available, there's like safe places, is like he's very big on that stuff, and that's really important because like I mean me, I'm a healthy guy. I don't dabble in extracurriculars anymore. And like for someone, because like, but I know that people that are coming to my shows are going to be doing it. Like I'm not an idiot. So like to be able to promote that sort of thing is important to me too, because like, look, people are going to do whatever they want. And like, also like I'm someone who 7.5 years, right? Nothing, but like, there's no, and this is someone who like went through Narcotics Anonymous, did this whole thing. I said I was an addict for years, and now I've taken a very different stance on it. And like, but and this is a very controversial thing to say, but like, there's no bad drugs. There's just bad use of drugs.
Yeah.
And like because like now we're diving a little deep. So like, here's the root cause of like what my drug use was. It's like, I didn't like me and I like how I feel, and I like the world and the reality that is made when I'm on drugs.
Sure.
If someone relates to that statement, it's time to take a step back and realize that like you have to love sober, nothing you to be able to enjoy yourself in all areas of your life. And then I'm not going to advocate for drug use or for going completely clean. Like everyone's different, and like moderation is what we should all be taught with everything in general.
Yeah, I was going to say with everything, because think about eating it, even moderation is king, you know? So yeah, I think it goes in definitely like different formats, but yeah, in the industry, you know, drug use is a big thing. And I know a lot of homies who partake, and, you know, sometimes people overdo it and sometimes people don't. So it's really whatever journey someone's on, just make sure you're fucking safe. That's my thing.
100%, man. And like it's all what's tough is like when you're in that, and like it's hard to know that line when you're crossing it, right? Because I didn't know until I got arrested, right? That I was crossing the line too much.
That's a line to cross, man. You definitely don't want to get arrested.
But like there's some, it's such a tough conversation because like, especially, I mean, Kensington is down the street from my apartment in Philly. Like everyone knows how bad Kensington is, right? Yeah. So like, it's hard to like, no one, when they're first taking a sip of alcohol or first taking a puff of weed, no one thinks like, oh, I'm going to go to Kensington. You know what I mean? Like they don't like, it's not like it's just because you do drugs, you're going to end up in Kensington. Like, it's not that at all. And like, that's why I just say like, it's all about like, look, if you're using it as an escape because you don't like your reality, like that's the part that needs to get worked on. Like the reality.
Well, I used to smoke a lot, and I don't smoke at all anymore just because it started giving me anxiety and like paranoia and stuff, just because I wasn't in the headspace I was when I was smoking a lot. Now, like, you know, I went through like early bad depression for a while, and like going through that, you know, put me in a different, you know, thinking state and everything like that. Now that's, you know, smoking kind of just like brings back some of those feelings. And, you know, so I stay away from that, as well as I get random drug tests for my work. Fuck that work. But but yeah, I don't smoke at all unless it's kind of like an end of the night thing, but never just to like, you know, party or anything like that. It's not.
Well, let me ask you, because I know I went through the same shit when I was getting, you know, stopping smoking weed and shit. I was just getting so anxious. So it was miserable. But like, for me, you know, but you talked about the depression and stuff, and I've been very open with like mental health issues and stuff like that. So like, what if you know, for the sake of anybody watching this that might be going through that, like, what are some of the things that you do to mitigate the depression and mental health?
So I went through my depression during COVID. So it was like, I don't know if it was, it could have been a bunch of things. I was in like a weird relationship at the time too. Like I was in a long-term relationship, but it was like kind of like the tail end of it. So that was weighing on me as well. So, I mean, but like what worked for me is like, you know, music helped a lot, but it started to hurt at the end. But, you know, just kind of like, like it's like almost meditating, and I would like kind of, because I was like doing things that completely like take my mind, like take myself like out of my head kind of thing, because what my depression stemmed from was just getting inside my head and overthinking things and then getting down on myself. And so anything I could do to like get myself out of my own head or get out of my own way, I would like go for walks. I would, you know, play video games even, you know, because that could help you just kind of like disassociate a little bit and just kind of relax and not think about the world going on around you. And, you know, like I said, music helped a lot. I watched a lot of like, I listened to a lot of podcasts. I did a lot of Twitch, like I didn't do Twitch, but I watched a lot of like Twitch streaming, like, cause like all the bigger artists are doing like their demo like feedbacks and like just like, or just production and stuff. I actually learned a lot from like Jaws's Twitch stream, because he was doing a heavy during COVID. So I would try to do stuff like that. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you know, I did seek therapy, and I went to therapy, and I don't know if that helped, but what it did help me was realize like what, I guess, what I needed to do to like get out of my own head. And, you know, I stepped away from what was, I think, ultimately causing the like really bad depression that I was going through. So I kind of tried it at all ends, I guess, you know, like try to figure it out.
Well, thank you for opening up and talking about that. Like that's a big part of why I love doing this podcast, man. And there's so many people that have like a certain thought about therapy, and like I'm so happy that people are so much more open to it now, because like I didn't go to therapy, but I had Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous.
Sure.
And it's just having someone to talk to and actually feeling like you're being heard, right. You know, and like that so much is like, that's a big
tough.
part.
It's tough too, because a lot of people seek like help from their friends, but you know, if you're seeking help from a friend, you don't always want to tell your friend everything. So you kind of hold stuff back, especially the stuff that may actually be like really, really bothering you, you know? And sometimes your friends are the ones who are causing your depression, or the people you surround yourself with. And that happened to be, I think, a little bit of like my issue is like the people I was surrounded with. So, you know, ultimately what I did was make a really hard decision and step away. I moved back home. And as soon as I moved back home and got away from, you know, a lot of stuff that was causing me stress and anxiety, and the ultimate root of my depression, like it got way better. You know, you still have your like your days, you know, where you like get upset or whatever, but going through, you kind of like know how to do it, like get through it, you know, like, I should go for a walk, or I should get sun today. You know, I shouldn't just be in my house or thinking about work or something like that. I need to do something, you know, to get my mind off it. And then after you do something like that, take your mind off it, you're ultimately relaxed, you know?
Yeah. And something that I learned, you know, through Narcotics Anonymous is move a muscle, change a thought. And like a lot of times when, you know, mental health and addiction and all these things are happening, it's like because there's this gigantic, infinite world inside of our heads. And like when we actually like, that's why music, that's why exercise, that's why just being around, you know, healthy, like good people, like you're a product of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And like sure. when if you're hanging around with 5 people that love and care about you and support you and are also you know, like doing like-minded things, like music production, or even if it, you know, for me, it's like, it's my powerlifting team and like all the people that I'm coaching. It's like all of these things are, they're positive things to be surrounded by. And they all have like sort of similar goals, and you can always be open and talk about these things. It's like when we're alone and inside our own head and not doing something, like that's when the thoughts can come. And like you said, like I'm sure therapy helped you to also figure out these things, excuse me, like going on walks and sun exposure.
Well, it points out the hard things that you don't want to admit to yourself. That's kind of what therapy helped with me, is that there was like things that like I knew like deep down, but I didn't want to admit to myself because I wanted certain things to work out, or I wanted to not, you know, come to terms with what was actually going on. And that really fucks you up, you know?
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Trust me, there's a reason I'm 7.5 years freaking clean.
For sure.
It got dark 7.5 years ago, dude. Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, I also read a book too, and a lot of people struggling with their thoughts and like their inner dialogue. What a lot of people have is that a book, I forget what it was. It was something, The Untethered Soul. But it said separate your thoughts from who you are, because your inner demon thoughts are not who you are. You know, that's just the part of you that is like scared or something like that, and that they're trying to talk you down and kind of not like it. I don't want to say humble you, because being humble can be good, but just like put you down kind of thing. And if you can separate, like, you know, that's a bad thought, that's not who you are, and then kind of focus on the good part of you, and like focus on like your good thoughts and like what you're actually doing, you know, you'll definitely kind of get out of your own way and really help yourself succeed.
Dude, I mean, you said it. That's one of the most true thing. Like when we're talking about mindfulness and stuff, like one of the first lessons is just like, there's you, and then there's your thoughts, and there's your emotions. And like you ever see the movie Inside Out? It's like a cartoon movie.
No, I know what you're talking about. I never seen it though.
It's literally like this inside this little girl's head, and it's all the different emotions are these different characters, and like they're all trying to grab a hold of the control, and like
right.
And anger's trying to get it, and sad's trying to get it, and happy movie. Dude, but it's like it's the perfect example of like if we're trying to you know grow mentally, and what one like really important lesson that we can teach is like, there's you, and then here's anger, that's this little red person. Here's happiness, that's this little green person. Here's sadness, that's this little blue person. Here's, you know, joy and excitement, that's like purple or something. And right. Literally like give the emotions a name and a face. So like it's not that I'm sad, it's that sadness is taking over the wheel right now. And now I need to sit down with sadness and say, hey, I'm not doing this right now. Like I am, you are not me. I am Ryan, and I need to, you know, get my head in the game so I can take care of this thing. And like, putting, like you said, like it's the move a muscle, change a thought thing, like working on music or going out for a walk or getting sun exposure. Like all these different things can help us all.
Leveling with people going through it, you know that like if you're really, really going through it, the things that did bring you joy cannot like stop bringing you joy. That's why I took a break from music for a while, and that's why this is like my first release since like early, like maybe or mid like 2020 or something like that. I took a break for a really long time because like I couldn't, like making music wasn't helping, and like it was just making me more anxiety because I was just like kind of putting weird pressure on myself that like wasn't there. I was just doing it to myself. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe that came from anxiety, depression.
You want to freaking be at the next level, right? Like,
but I did take a break for a couple months, and I got COVID during Christmas, which sucked because COVID sucks. But that's when I started like actually picking up producing again and like making music again. And that's, I mean, you guys have been seeing, I don't know, but I've been showing out to a lot more stuff and whatnot, just because trying to, make my way back in, especially with the release, and, kind of wiggle my way back in. Cause I was doing a lot of like shows and stuff before, I played at Noto, played at West and Down, played High Caliber back in 2019. But then went through that shitty part, and, I'm back though. So I'm happy to leveling with people that, sometimes, even things that like were helping before, may not be fun. You got to find other outlets as well, not just like focus on one thing.
Absolutely, man.
Definitely will help me.
And I've had this was a guest that I had on a while ago. It was episode like 102.
Wow.
His name was Matt Z. He's the specialized generalist, and he had a really good quote. He's like, if you aren't eating right, like or aren't sleeping enough, or aren't moving your body, exercising, like good luck controlling your emotions. Good luck being productive. Good luck, like succeeding in the things that you want, because like it starts with like, we got to take care of ourselves too, to give us the best opportunity to be successful in other areas of our lives. And then like,
Right.
if everybody knows the term hangry, like when you're so hungry that you're literally angry, like there's a reason for that. If there's so many, you know, positives to intermittent fasting and things like that. But like a lot of times, I've heard Jordan Peterson talk about this, like when he has someone come in and he's like, they're talking about all their issues and stuff. And he was like, what did you eat today? And they're like, oh, I don't eat until dinner, or like I've only eat this because I don't like how I look. And it's like, well, you need to start by like waking up and eating something and drinking some water.
Yeah, dude.
It's like you need to get something.
No, for
you
sure.
need nutrients in your body.
Right.
Like,
I agree 100%. I never like got with the whole intermittent fasting thing. Like, I think, you know what? All right, that's a lot. I did try it for a little bit, but I mean, I was just a dickhead in the morning. I was just, because I was angry. I was hungry. I was like, I can't eat till fucking 11. You know, fuck everyone. Don't talk to me until I can eat, you know, or, you know, have black coffee in the morning and you're just miserable because you miss actual good coffee or tea or whatever you may choose. But yeah, there's certain things that may work for certain people, but you know, I think ultimately you can figure out what works for your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Intermittent fasting and keto both didn't work for me, so fuck both of those those diets.
Well, you know, I'm the health coach guy, right? So like, of
course,
it is very important if someone wants to try intermittent fasting that when they are eating, it has to be a very nutrient dense caloric intake. Yeah. And like, you know, that sounds fancy, right? But all it means is like, you need to get all your vitamins, minerals, macronutrients, and micronutrients all need to be in balance when you do eat, so that your body can digest it and not be this hangry person because you're like, I'm just not going to eat until a certain time. So like, there's a lot of things that come into it. And like, keto works for some people, carnivore works for some people.
What works for me is just moderation. just moderation. Just don't eat like a dickhead. You can't be eating a ton of McDonald's, and you can't be. I lost like since I came out of the depression, I've lost like about 65 pounds. So
it's freaking beautiful.
And it's just from moderation. Just, you know, making sure I'm not overeating and making sure I'm eating like healthy things. So,
dude, that's my whole life ever since I've gotten into, you know, ever since I, you know, got clean and stuff. Like, I realized like it's all about balance. And like, I've tried going fully carnivore, and like I had some benefits there, but like where I find the most success, where I have the most energy for my workouts, where I feel the best in terms of like least mitigating soreness and things like that. It's all balance. Like I do need carbs, but I try to get most of them from fruit. I need protein because I need to rebuild my body, and I try to get most of it from beef because it's the most nutrient dense. And then I'm gonna eat a salad every, you know, 1 to 5 days a week, because I know vegetables aren't I'm not some idiot that thinks vegetables aren't good. Like, I still know.
Do you be eating liver, like the Liver King?
So I will say, if anybody is going to eat liver, you gotta make sure it's from grass-fed, grass-finished, 100% organic cow. Because like, if you're getting it from any of these, you know, there's so much shitty meat out there. Like, it has to be the best quality. Sure. I personally just take a supplement because it's easier. It's not that easy for me to find. So my liver is in a dried up capsule that I just freaking swallow. Like,
that's cool. Yeah, that's good. I know. I remember from the other night too. You do all the mushroom stuff too, which is super interesting. I keep seeing like you know, like all the Instagram ads of like the different like types of coffee substitutes, and like, or just like different powders for like improving like gut health and whatnot with all the mushrooms tech stuff. So
hell yeah, mental clarity, focus, endurance, gut health, all around immune health. Yeah. That's why I take all that, and like I really want to legally get some. I want to figure out how I can microdose and it not be like this illegal thing that I'm not allowed to do, and like
move to Colorado.
Yeah, right.
Like you gotta do. It's legal there, dude. Or
that's either legal that and like Portland, I think, because everything's legal in Portland now.
You don't want to go there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's a little. I don't know if they agree with me on a lot of issues right now.
I don't think they agree with anyone in issues, dude. Everyone's just fighting each other there. But,
oh man, dude. Whatever. Well, thank you so freaking much for doing this. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here, and I appreciate you having me on, dude.
Dude, and thank you for your honesty with your situation, everything you've gone through. You're gonna help. You're gonna help so many people that are watching this. So
well, everyone that is watching this, don't hesitate to reach out on me. I'm sure you'll plug my like Instagram and stuff. Don't hesitate don't hesitate to DM me if you have an issue and you want to talk about it. I'm an open book. I'll talk about anything, or even if it's about like production and stuff, I'll try to help you out the best I can. I'm still learning, just as everyone else is.
And most importantly, go stream ILIKE.
Go stream ILIKE, please. It's on everything: Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Tidal. If anyone still uses Tidal, I don't know. Yeah, it's on everything. You can even find it in your Instagram story, music stuff. You got to make sure when you type in CUSTO, it's all capital though, because if not, some random dude by the name of CUSTO shows up and isn't me. So
hell yeah, brother. Well, again, thank you so much for doing this.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Brother. Yeah, dude.
And appreciate also, side note, thank you for hooking me up with your buddy.
Dude,
we were talking. He's awesome.
Dude, yeah, I love Kyle. That's one of my best friends. So I'm happy that I put you guys on together. So he's very excited.
We got some plans with the podcast and everything.
He even texted me. He was like, "Yo, me and your boy Ryan are about to make money." I was like, "Let's go!" I was like, "Let's fucking go!"
Hell yeah, man.
Dude, love connecting.
I love you to death. I can't wait to see you again in Philly soon.
I'll be there soon, dude. I'll be there soon. I'll be at the crib.
Hell yeah. And you gotta come and just hang out. Like, forget about when we have shows and stuff. Just come hang out in Philly and we'll kick it. Grab some good food and shit like that.
Good food, chill. Maybe work on some stuff.
And then wow.
No. I'm not the chopper.
I fucking love you, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Right, everyone that hung in and watched, please, of course, go stream ILIKE.
Please stream my music.
Thank you so much for your love and support.
Thank
you. It means the freaking world to me. I appreciate it so much because I love doing this. And I can't do it if people, I could do it if people don't watch. And I probably still would. But you guys make it freaking worth it. Because I know that people like CUSTO that come on here and are honest are going to be able to help anybody that's listening. So thank you so much. I love you guys. Till next time, peace, love, unity, and respect. We're out.
Peace.